Hello everyone, Watch This Review here, and did you know that Halloween is 77 days away at this point? That's like practically overnight now. As such, I figured it's finally time to talk about Lemax's 2014 Spooky Town collection, although to be fair, I actually started talking about this back in March when Lemax, I believe it's actually pronounced Lemax, I'm not 100% sure though, I've never heard anybody say the word, but they posted a listing of pre-orders earlier this year. So we had a sort of first look, but more recently my local Michaels got their selection in. I'd forgotten to check it out until somebody mentioned that, I hadn't done a Spooky Town video yet, and yeah, they're right, I hadn't done a Spooky Town video. Completely slipped my mind, and hadn't even been stopping to my local Michaels recently, but the 2014 selection looks a little small, but it seems like every year there's a little bit less. But when I go back to like some of the older brochures, it looks like it's actually the same amount of stuff. So I think it's just nostalgia blindness, where everything seemed bigger and better years ago, and as time goes on, things don't seem as cool. Yeah. At any rate, the stuff you can get online is slightly different from the stuff that you can get at Michaels. I'm not sure who else carries this in terms of retail. I'm not sure if the rest is just all direct buys, but if you look at some of the stuff that is being listed here, you have this prison thing. I believe I didn't see that at Michaels. I think that's a new item. It might not. It might also just be like something from like 5 or 6 years ago that they're re-releasing, but I'm pretty sure I've never seen that before. So, there's some items that are exclusively being carried one place, some items being carried other places. This one is also at Michaels. Start going backwards here. Dead Man's Cabin, also at Michaels. I believe this is from last year, the annual Day of the Dead Festival. A very cool piece. They did another one sort of similar, where you've got a group of skeletons sort of dancing around a circle. That one had a campfire, and I completely busted that one. Ended up having it next to a whole stack of books one day. But books fell, smashed one of the skeletons, so I've got to do something about that. I love that one. It's the Hear No Evil, Speak No Evil one. Yep, nope. At any rate, right now I'm just looking at the ones that are listed on Tomopop, where I ran the original story. The TP'd Doghouse. I also have a whole bunch of images from the that I took of the display at the store itself, which I should just pull up really quick. Ignore all this other stuff you're seeing. Here we go. Nope, not him. But unfortunately, for some reason, my local Michaels didn't have any of the displays like activated, and the lines for the front were like crazy long, and nobody's on the floor, so I couldn't ask anybody to sort of turn something on. I have no clue if these things were even hooked up or not, but there's a pretty sizable display on the top featuring a few of the exclusives. Let's quickly look at what the exclusives are. The exclusives are the Mount Gloom Observatory, the Haunted Houseboat, as seen here, and then it's the Zombie Eatery, which I have a photo of as well, the Grim Reaper Countdown set. Oh, that's cute. I guess there's little skulls with the numbers on it, and then you switch it out as you're getting closer to either Halloween or the day you die. Gurgle's Roach Coach. It's a sort of weird name, but it's sort of like an evil clown ice cream thing, or an evil clown like hot dog cart or something. The rest are not exclusives, but are kind of neat. There's the Witches and Warlocks Night Care. I guess it's a retirement home for them. The Bag of Bones Coffin Factory, which we saw earlier. Hemlock's Nursery, which I really love. It's got that whole little plant shop of horrors, or plant shop of horrors vibe to it. I have a few photos of that from the display as well. The Spooky Pets Boutique. Ooh. Dead Man's Cabin again. Igor the Gravedigger, Witch's Workshop. The Spooky Tree Monster. says new, but it looks like so many of the other spooky tree monsters we've seen. You know, for a line that's puts out only like a handful of items a year, they shouldn't have this many spooky trees. Although I guess people might want to build a spooky forest. The Bone Arbor, which is kind of boring. We have quite a few gateways at this point. The ticket booth kiosk, this one's sort of for the train, so I can understand it. The Black Cat Adoption, that one's cute. The Really Late Train, featuring skeleton sitting on a bench, still reading a newspaper and stuff. You'd think if they just died weighing on the bench, that newspaper would fall, but no. Of course, you know, it's probably just skeletons doing skeleton things. It's not as literal as I'm probably assuming. The Ghoul Hot Dog Vendor, I would not buy from that cart. Important lesson, folks, never buy from any cart in the shape of a coffin. Only bad things can come of it. Only bad things. The Walking Zombies set, which is a small 3-pack. I saw it, I'm sort of tempted to pick it up, but I don't know. I think it's also sort of cool as an army builder if you just want to have like a little zombie invasion. I just wish that they weren't so specific, because they have like one woman in a dress, one crawler, and a guy in a suit instead of having some more generic guys. The broom parking rack, you know, because you have to store your broom somewhere, although they don't have broom padlocks there, so anybody could just walk off with their broom. The Spooky Town Post, a busted up post box with blood and stuff on it. That one is pretty neat. It's the first time they've done anything like that, so that's very cool. The monster mailboxes, because if you have a post office box, you need mailboxes. A spooky tree stump. If you recall, I'm saying there are just too many spooky trees related stuff. A tombstone set, which is a reissue. The coffin set, which I believe came out 2 years ago. It was a while ago, though. The Iron Gate, this one's also an old one. Maple Tree, it's been every year for several years now. Sticky Max, that's for gluing the pieces onto the board, I believe. Then you have the various display pieces on the back. You have a stand post, and you have the rail switch, and then some lights and some light bulbs and stuff. So, I don't know. It's not a tremendous amount of stuff, and there's no really huge overriding theme. Like one year they had a ton of Egyptian stuff. I guess if anything they have a lot of undead stuff this year. A lot of zombies, a lot of skeletons, and alright, I did not point out the fact that they have the train there. That one I have a lot of photos of. The train I definitely want to pick up. It's like $50, so I'm going to wait for a while. It comes with some of the track, it's got a working motor and all that. But first off, we have the... I have to consult the sheet again. You know, I just said this like 2 minutes ago. This is actually pretty bad. You know, senility starts when you're in your 20s, and now I'm into my 30s, so... Oh, that's scary. But yes, the Haunted Houseboat. It's got music and light. This is internal lights, possibly changing lights. I can't remember what these logos stand for. Let's just consult exterior lighting. Okay, so it's exterior lighting, so kind of cool. If you notice in the background, you have the Mount Gloom Observatory, which again is a really nice piece, but the idiots at the store have it backwards. So the skull is facing out towards the back of the stand. I mean, granted, you know, you can look at it any way you want because they have decorations on all sides, but you think that people would realize that, you know, the skull is supposed to be in the front. But no, you've got some numbskulls working there. I might go over there and just flip it around myself because that just annoys me a bit. But I don't know. I'm just not a fan of the houseboats or anything. I mean, granted, it's kind of cute. I think the sculpting's neat, and it's got tons and tons of black hats on, and that's always a must. But it's just not a theme I sort of care about. I also didn't care about the pirate ship they did several years ago. You know, to each their own. Now here we have the front of the train, sort of down the tracks, as well as the ticket stand. The train I absolutely loved. It's got this giant skull on the front, and then it's got little silhouettes of people on the side, or monstrous people. You also notice the coffin factory in the back there. It's called the Jekyll and Hyde line. Zombie Parade. Of course, in the manual, or brochure. It's only called the Spooky Town Trolley. But given that it's numbered 13 on it, I'm wondering if we'll get more spooky trains in the future, although this one's going to be really hard to top. If you look at it, it's got a little bubble and stuff with additional characters there. It's got these silhouettes, I believe... No, it doesn't have light up. I thought it would have light up so these silhouettes sort of show up, but the silhouettes in general aren't repeated, like they don't just toss the same one on the other side. There are a few of the characters that do reappear, but there's only one werewolf, and that's on the other side. Very nice sculpting here on the front. If you look into the front, you can see the conductor through one of the eyes. The whole thing reminds me of Doom Train from, I don't know if anybody played Final Fantasy VIII. I'm saying I don't know if anybody played Final Fantasy VIII. I'm sure plenty of people have played Final Fantasy VIII. But Doom Train was a really cool summon in that. And, it's cool that we're getting something sort of like that. Another shot of it. Again, really love the look of this train. Have to pick it up, but I'm going to wait till it gets marked down. It's weird, but I don't recall seeing any markdowns quite yet. Like usually they're 30% off almost from the get-go. There were no signs or anything up for it, but I'll have to look around for like Michael's flyers, my local newspaper. Here's an image of... I don't know what the hell the thing is. No, I guess it's actually the arbor, the bone arbor, but it's just from a different angle, so it looks like it was filled in. I guess it's got a potted hand and everything. Otherwise, you can see that evil clown food stand in the background with the little tongue molded into the front and everything. Looks kind of like that stuff you saw in Twisted Metal, which I also don't know if anybody's played, but I assume quite a few people have, because that was a pretty popular game at the time. I believe that one was 30, but I don't have images of the prices here. And of course they don't list in the flyer because it may vary. There's the Witch's Workshop. See the little stump there. Just not impressed by that stump at all. Some of the previous spooky trees did impress me quite a bit, but I just didn't pick them up because they're either sold out before I get to them, in terms of I wait till things get to like 60% off at least before buying. But here we have the zombie eatery. I'm not sure what they're eating, whether the zombies are eating people or, zombies are eating zombies. I don't know. You'll notice there's a zombie crawling out of it, but there are also zombies trying to break in. So basically very mixed messages. Very mixed messages. The Spooky Pets Boutique is in the background. I don't believe I got a closer image of that. Here we have the black cat adoption. You'll notice the cat is poking its head underneath the stand and everything. I like the concept, but the actual quality of the figures is kind of spotty. You'll probably recall that Lemax's paint apps aren't the best. They sort of just glob stuff on there, but I mean, it's sort of the industry standard with these holiday villages. They don't really pay much time or attention to that. It's more the sculpting will be pretty decent, and then paint apps will just see all over the place. Although even the sculpting on things great on the people here. That's why they should stick with monsters. They should totally stick with monsters. You see Dead Man's Cabin here in the background, the little skeletons poking out of that. Pretty neat. Granted, I probably won't pick up Dead Man's Cabin. I do have the Outhouse of Doom, though, which has the same sort of old-timey feel to it. It's a lot scarier, though, an Outhouse of Doom than an old abandoned cabin. I know I certainly wouldn't want to go into the outhouse. You can get me into that cabin, but no way in hell am I going to that outhouse. Then here in the background we have the retirement home, I believe. It's got a light, sound, movement, and I believe music. Yeah, it has all those things. It's just not that appealing in terms of like the grand scheme of things. I mean, they've done so many different witch-themed items at this point that they really have to sort of up their game to keep going. Now here we have a bunch of the whole small ones. You'll notice that they're pretty cheap. They're going to be even cheaper when they're half or more off. That said, I'm not sure how many of them I'm going to pick up, just because I have a whole bunch of the small ones as is, and those are a little bit harder to store because you can't justify saving the packages for them. Like for a lot of the larger ones, they just toss them back in the box and put the box in a closet or something. By the way, I didn't get a closer image of the Manny bones. I wish I had. So that one's pretty neat. I also really liked the one where they had the grave or something lifting out of the ground last year, which I didn't pick up. Again, sold out too fast. I think it sold out by the time it was 40% maybe. Sometimes I really like to play it risky, because, you know, eventually it gets down to the 80% or the 90%. I've almost never seen it at 90 though, but 80's always the last few items, and sometimes, you know, that's a really big one that costs you $100 is a pretty good deal at 20, but you just can't see yourself paying that much more for it. In fact, the only really huge one I own so far is the Egyptian one, which I believe I've shown before. Here's a sort of close-up of the packaging for the Mount Gloom Observatory, because again, they had it flipped the other way. Idiots. Very cool. I sort of like the idea of this lighthouse thing just poking out its eye. Then you've got the Grim Reaper in the other eye. It is weird that they have steps going along the outside, because lighthouses, by and large, have all that stuff on the inside, because imagine having to walk on the outside in the middle of a storm to turn on that light. It's just not feasible. But hey, there might be some other reason for that. It features light, sound, and music. Sorry. Movement, light, sound, and music. I'm not sure where the movement is because it was off, and I can't imagine where the moving part might be. I also don't think it'd probably need it. Here's another look at the Coffin Factory. I kind of want this. I'll be honest with you, it's really cute, but again, it's a larger piece, storage. Even when you put it back in the box, that still takes up a lot of room, and that's sort of been one of my main considerations these days, besides the whole money issue, which is always a present thing whenever you're collecting a ton of stuff. The Hemlock Nursery, again, another piece I kind of want. I hope they'll do something a bit smaller with the plants, because that I might pick up, but as it stands, they're sort of really big set. I can't see myself buying. And finally, we have another look at this train here. I believe that's the last image. Nope, we have the hot dog stand last. But yeah, this is exceptional. Definitely something I hope to pick up. If I buy one item this year, it'll probably be that. Although the hot dog stand is also really tempting. Hot dogs, not so much. But yeah, that's everything for Spooky Town 2014 between the Michael selection and a few of the highlights from the website. Yeah, I definitely would encourage you to check out at least some of this stuff. Until next time, folks.